So I'm thinking a lot about how I document the rebuild process for these cars and how it typically takes me 4 or 5 videos to complete a project. But today we're gonna finish the 911, no matter how long today takes. One thing I've noticed with all of my builds is that it takes a ridiculous amount of cardboard to finish one of these projects. First thing I need to replace is this front strut. Even after I did all that work to adjust the suspension in the last video, it seems like the wheels still tilted that direction. In disassembly of the front end and removal of that shock or strut, it became obvious comparing it to the new one that I found at the junkyard that it was bent from the accident right in the middle. I reassembled the suspension, put the car back together, and back on the ground, you can now see that the tire is perfectly straight. Probably. Before we go any further, we have to install these gas arms. Have you seen these before? This is what holds up the hood. Ever since we took delivery of our Porsche 911, we've been dealing with a hood that doesn't stay up on its own. You can replace them with one hand if you pull out the old one that's not working and install, which direction does it go? And install the new one, the car becomes much more pleasant to work on. We have to install all of these body panels before we actually paint anything. If you painted them first and then later found out that they didn't fit, it would be really upsetting because any bodywork that you did to try and make it fit would probably ruin the paint job. I don't like being upset. This right here is a prime example. If you look, this part of our fender is pushed in that direction. That's probably damage from shipping. So I need to find a way to pull from here this direction. And if I already painted this panel and then did that, that'd be just bad. This is some ductwork that allows cool air to blow across the radiator, which will help keep the engine cooler, which means more power. More power means more speed. More speed means you'll likely hit another tree, and this will end up back in my garage so I can fix it again. I'd say the next 10 seconds of the vlog will determine whether or not this car is a success or a failure. Is this a vlog? Auto vlog? Maybe. What I'm taking out of this box is our custom-made GT3 one-off bumper that came from California. Now, if this doesn't fit, we're gonna have a problem. It's upside down. One of the things I don't really appreciate about this specific car is that I didn't take it apart, so I don't even know how this goes back together. These bumpers always have a bad reputation regarding poor fitment, but this one comes from Precision Porsche, and I think it looks like it's gonna fit. How about for kicks, we just see if all the body lines line up. Oh my gosh. It fits perfect. Wow. Obviously, we have a major concern for our body lines because this car was in an accident and we're replacing old parts with new parts. But check out the fender, where it meets the hood, where it meets the headlight. It all looks perfect. The gaps are excellent. So hopefully you're as relieved as I am. If you're not relieved, it means you need to get more emotionally invested into this 911. Time to paint. This is a gallon container of our Porsche paint. In German, Silber. Otherwise known as Arctic Silver for the non-German folk. We're not ready to spray yet. We gotta make a couple decisions. Decision 1, what are we painting? Unpainted new front bumper? Yes. Horribly repainted donor front fender? Yes. Damaged hood? Not so sure. Let me show you. Although we need to do something about the damage on the hood, it might not need paint. If we sand through the scratches in the clear coat and then buff out the clear coat when we're finished, we might not need to paint this fender. It's actually a hood. On a perfectly clean panel and using various types of sandpaper from 400 grit to 2000 grit, we will carefully wet sand our hood. You can see the area that we sanded is not as shiny as the area that hasn't been sanded, but you'll also notice that all the damage is gone. After a quick buff and polish, we have our hood looking as good as new. There's no damage here whatsoever. With our hood now off of the list of things that need to be painted, we can remove our front bumper, remove the front fender, and prepare everything for paint. Just like we did the hood, we have to prep the remainder of the panels with sandpaper to get them ready for painting. You can see this corner right here. This represents this area that was damaged. And now with a closer look, you can see a couple of dents. With just a small amount of 2-part body filler and some light sanding, we're ready to paint. For me, the first step in every paint job is to clean my paint gun. This paint gun's been with me from the very beginning. It painted our first rebuild project, which was the Honda motorcycle. The second rebuild project, which was a Porsche 911 from 1999. The third project was the Jeep Wrangler rebuild. The fourth project was the Audi R8. And now it's gonna paint our silver Porsche 911 Carrera 4. The first step is primer. It's gray. And hopefully I didn't just spit on our bumper. Now I'm not actually sure if all of these panels need to be primed, but I just do it because it makes each panel share the same color before we hit it with our can of regular paint. So this is the can of paint I keep talking about using, and once you're finished with priming, we're basically ready to paint. If you skip over the 2.5 hours it took me to wet sand everything. But who's counting? So let's get a first look at what Arctic Silver actually looks like. Whoa. Is that metallic? I've never sprayed metallic. How do you spray metallic? Don't worry about it, I'll figure it out. Whoa, interesting fumes coming off of that.
When do I stop mixing?
The regular paint goes on in just a few light coats. You do not want to have runs in the color because that's hard to correct compared to runs in the clear coat, which is easy to correct. At this point, the panels have a bunch of paint on them and they look great, but you start to wonder to yourself, I'm not sure if they're gonna match the rest of the car. Now, I don't know what to do about that, so I'm just gonna keep going and add clear coat. After a bunch of coats of clear coat, it looks really shiny, and you say, ah, yes. Still not sure if it matches the rest of the car. Want to start with side skirts? Good idea. These are the interior carpets that came with our 911, and I don't like the way they look, so we're gonna use them in a way that we don't scratch our side skirt. So remember, these are not factory Porsche, they're aftermarket fiberglass. Hopefully, they fit snugly. And the way that they should go on is that they should snap into place with very little effort. It looks like there's one screw up front and a couple screws in the back. And in the middle, we're gonna use this 3M double-sided body tape. Now don't get all worked up because I said tape. This is exactly what this application is for. Porsche, on the other hand, screws their body panels into place, and that would be permanent and cause me more anxiety than the tape. At least with the tape, it's removable for the next owner. So now when I snap the side skirt on, my tape has been installed. Notice that little red flag, that's the cover on the sticky side of the tape. So right now it's not exposed. So as I pull the cover off of the sticky side of the tape, now the side skirt should stick to the rocker panel. With the side skirt on, I'm not sure I have a reason not to mount this thing. And thinking about the most dangerous moment of this assembly, it's probably this moment right here. Bear with me. Can't get to some of these bolts without taking the wheel off. Huh. You know what? I lied. I can get there. It's just gonna take a reach and a funny face. And one thing you should never do is use an impact gun on a body panel. Unless it's your car and you can do whatever you want. Although it looks like we are ready to fit our bumper isn't ready to be fit. Look, it's got holes in it. Now Porsche wants you to fit those holes with this plastic grill, but this doesn't really do much for the look of the car, and I have a better idea. Well, I have an idea. I don't know if it's better. This is wire mesh that's stainless steel and painted black. Although it'll take some serious fabrication to get this fitted into the bumper, it'll look a whole lot better than our 20-year-old plastic. It would be such a shame to scratch this, so let's try and flip it so we don't scratch anything. So if you take a strip of this mesh and sort of bend it and contour it to match the cutouts in the bumper, you can fit them right into place over the cutouts and then secure it with a little fiberglass JB Weld. I've covered 3 of the openings in the bumper. I'm going to leave 2 open, the 2 that the factory Porsche bumper also leaves open for maximum airflow. And now we gotta mount the bumper without scratching it. Don't scratch it. Oh my gosh. Well, let's get it mounted.